You're all the way live. Now we're live.
Yeah.
The WrestleManiacs' long-awaited return. People looking more forward to this than the damn Grammy Awards tonight, by the way.
I didn't even know they were on.
No, all you had to watch was like the first 10 minutes of the Grammy Awards tonight. AC/DC opened up the show. I was like, what the hell?
Really?
And, yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
That was pretty cool, but other than that, nah, I'm not into that shit.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was on. I just knew we were on.
Yeah. A little bit late. We're waiting on some more people to stop by. We thought we were going to have a full house tonight, but I don't know what the hell's going on.
They'll be here.
Just me and G Money here right now.
Yep.
So how's things been going, man? This is actually the first video that we've done on this channel in the new year. We have not done one since I think it was a DEADPIT Q&A thing back after like Christmas or something like that.
Yeah, it was. It was in December, so yeah, New Year. We were gonna do the Royal Rumble, but I think we all needed to kind of cool down, before we started ranting about that. I think so.
Yeah, there was enough people complaining about that, I think, that night anyway. So we would just add to the many that were already doing
it. So better late than never, but we wanted to cool down and get our facts straight before we started ranting on that. We can get some of that done tonight. And
I honestly think, like, too, after watching, I didn't get to watch all of Raw, but I watched a little bit of it. I think the fans cooled down a little bit too, and
yes, I
think
think that storm was actually the best thing that happened to them after that Royal Rumble, to be honest.
I think we have Mr. Freddie Young on here, or I see a nice photo of him right now. He's getting his stuff together.
He looks sharp tonight. Look at him.
Yeah. He's styling and profiling, baby, from NYC, if you will, by way of the WrestleManiacs. How's it going, man?
Not much here.
Not too much.
Chilling.
It's good to finally get everybody back on here and talk a little bit of wrestling.
That's right.
But we were just talking, just going. I guess I don't know how we're going to do this. We're going to talk about pretty much all the events leading up to where we're at right now. Royal Rumble was the show that we missed, and there's only a couple matches on there, I think, that we were going to at least discuss, like some of the other stuff. I don't know. But the Royal Rumble match itself, which a lot of people were unhappy with, and I was kind of like, I would be shocked if Roman Reigns didn't win the Rumble. I mean, that was just my mindset anyway. I'm like, this is their guy. He's in front and center in every damn thing they're doing. The new Raw intro, he's the last dude on there, and that essentially means he's the next guy, or he's the guy they want to be the next guy. So I just never really expected anybody else other than Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble this year.
Right. I mean, in the back of my head, I thought he was going to win. I agree, but a strong part of me was like, you know what, like, do the right thing this year. He'll be your guy. He's just not your guy right now. So, in the back of my head, I was like, they're gonna make him win. Roman Reigns is going over, but in my heart, I felt like Daniel Bryan was definitely the right thing to do. So of course I was disappointed and aggravated at that. But it was just the way it happened. It was the elimination. It was, all the missed opportunities throughout the Royal Rumble with other things, and the finish. Kane and Big Show ordeal, and it was just booked terribly, I think, and that kind of added to the fact that Roman Reigns went over.
Well, we need to welcome the man himself, the notorious PIZ, if you will.
Indeed. How you guys doing?
Right.
Pretty good. How are you guys? Running a little behind tonight.
You got pizzed down.
You was just watching Katy Perry on the Grammy Awards is what was going on, we know.
Oh, I had to wait for my heart to calm down and wipe the sweat away so I wouldn't look too disheveled on here. So clean up all those balled up Kleenexes.
How are you doing over there, Freddie? You getting any snow, buddy, or what?
Everything around here is ice. It's terrible.
My life is snow, man, now, over here. Every weekend I'm trapped in my house Sunday night. It's ridiculous.
We're getting more snow tomorrow, so looking forward to it.
Oh, we haven't had any
Wow.
snow down here, so grateful.
Yeah. Actually, today was a pretty nice day.
Yeah, I think it was like 68 degrees here today. So
you guys are bastards. You know that?
Now, what'll happen for us is we'll be snowed in like April. We'll be snowed in.
Yeah, the thing about like the weather here in Kentucky is like one day it could be like in the 60s, and the next day it'll be a blizzard. Like this time of year, it's crazy. But we haven't really had much snow this year at all, so.
Can't complain like you fellas. You fellas up in the Northeast, right?
That's right.
You look at snow dogs.
It's ruining everything for me up here. God.
Oh man.
So speaking of ruining things, we're talking about the Royal Rumble. Freddie, Piz, what do you guys think of the winner of the Rumble? Were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, but my biggest issue was, why did they have Daniel Bryan come back before the Rumble? That just made things worse.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't he come back to Raw after the Rumble or something like that? I don't know. It just didn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. It
Well,
could have ended this. Oh, go ahead, Piz. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say more people are going to watch it knowing that Daniel Bryan's in it, in the hopes that he's going to win it, because they know there's Daniel Bryan. I mean, like in the match, as soon as Daniel Bryan went out, so did the crowd, because they knew, okay, well, the Roman Reigns is winning this. How predictable, and the boos began, So, I think he was booked into that simply to sell it.
I think the booking of the whole Rumble was bullshit, though, too. Like, they really messed that up more than anything. I mean, more than the fact that people were just upset that Roman Reigns won the Rumble. I mean, how many just jabronis were in that freaking Rumble? And, like, the final 5 guys, like, there was no way any of the other guys were going to win it aside from Roman Reigns. It was so predictable, And that's the thing that that was so... that I thought was so crazy about the whole situation. I mean, it's like Kane and fucking Big Show, man. Like, really?
You didn't think it was going to be Kane and Brock at Mania? You didn't think that?
No, Big Show and Brock. That would have been the.
Kane and Brock.
I swore I was watching Royal Rumble 2000. I swore. I was like, I just time travel.
Only what's funny, what was bad about it too was like the surprise people that they had come out. I mean, it was cool seeing DDP, but I mean, Bully Ray was in there for like 2 minutes, and Boogeyman. I mean, what the hell? Boogeyman's walk to the ring was 10 times longer than him in the ring. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then it was like because they just kept like. I don't know. They kept it was like more and more. It was like, here's Sin Cara, here's 2 other people you don't care anything about, and the crowd was just not digging it.
And what's bad was that anybody that was over was eliminated like 2 minutes after they came in.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler was like barely in there for what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, Sandow was in there maybe 30 seconds. So.
Yeah. Well, and it's the way they were eliminated too. I mean, like, look at Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt owned the first half of that Royal Rumble, and then he's just like carried and dropped out like garbage. Same thing with Dolph Ziggler. He was number 30, and aside from The Rock, that was the last big pop that happened for Rumble, and he's just 5 minutes in and just dumped out by these 2 people who the crowd clearly hate, and not just because they're heels. They just hate seeing them in that spot because it's
same old shit.
It's the same, exactly. It's the same old shit. Exactly.
Something though too that I was thinking of that would have worked better had they wanted Roman Reigns to be the guy. Why didn't you just keep Roman Reigns off of TV and everything until he was in the Rumble? If they really want the fans behind Roman Reigns, what in the hell did they do with him in the month or whatever that he was there before he was in the damn Rumble? They didn't do a damn thing. Like a couple of matches with the Big Show that were horrible, you know.
Suffering succotash.
Yeah, and the horrible ass promos they give him.
Yeah, I mean that would have been the right thing to do, and then again they probably shouldn't have if they were going to do that with Roman, they shouldn't have did it with Bryan because, again, if Bryan wasn't there and was still considered hurt, do you think Roman would have got the boos he did? I mean, people wouldn't even have probably chanted Daniel Bryan because they would have still assumed he was hurt and there was no way he was going to be in it. So
I honestly think though, like the surprise factor, it works better for even smart fans. Just the fact that, okay, even if they'd brought Daniel Bryan back, everyone would have expected, oh, Daniel Bryan's winning this or whatever. But you could booked it better, and Reigns wouldn't have been so damn hated had they just kept him off TV and never said a damn thing about him. You remember when Cena came back that year? Even the people that hated Cena, everybody went fucking crazy because nobody thought he was coming back that quick.
Mm-hmm. But that's a storyline with the Royal Rumble that you've seen multiple times that works. It could have been done with Daniel Bryan or it could have been done with Roman Reigns. I mean, the way Daniel Bryan was coming into this Royal Rumble, like, I'm back, I'm putting my name in the hat. Then he had that match with Kane where it was like, if you don't win, you're not getting in, and he overcame those odds. So the right thing to do on that path would have been to have him win. I mean, that was the same thing with Shawn Michaels, I think, in like 96. Same storyline. Then you had the Cena came back from injury, won the Royal Rumble, went to Mania. Edge did the same thing. It's a story. I think Stone Cold did it as well, but Triple H did it as well. So it's a story that works that they should have stuck to. If not with Daniel Bryan, then they should have did it with Roman because he was hurt as well.
Or if they had Reigns be there, I think he should have been one of the early entrants, maybe like the first 5, and have him just go through the whole thing. And actually do stuff and do stuff in the Rumble, and then maybe people would have cheered him. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, he didn't do much when he was in there. He eliminated a couple people, but he kind of
was in the corner the whole time.
Right.
Yeah. He took a nap. I think he took a nap at one point. He got out a blanket and a pillow and
he was gassed.
Cat nap. Yeah.
Batista did more last year than he did. I was like, bad.
Well, I heard, and let me know if you guys heard this or not, but I heard that Mercury and Noble booked the Rumble.
Yeah, that's what I read too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jamie Noble did it last year too.
They did last year?
Jamie Noble,
I wouldn't let those two book a room for me at the Elcano Lodge, let alone Royal Rumble, for Christ's sake. I mean, good Lord.
They just lost their credibility, man, now, I think, after those 2 Rumbles that got booed. What pay-per-view gets booed out at the end besides those last 2 Rumbles? No good.
Yeah. Especially the last, what, 3 or 4 minutes of the pay-per-view was like, oh my God, I mean, it's like a bad episode of SmackDown or something, I mean.
It's not even worse than that. I mean, they boo The Rock, and then they start chanting for Rusev. Rusev has not been relevant in months, and they're chanting for Rusev. They'd rather see Rusev.
The guy who comes on TV and degrades the United States every week is getting cheered.
He turned everyone communist.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre for me that they would spend the money to bring The Rock in, knowing that, okay, this is how we're going to save our top baby our top baby face. We're going to spend however $1 million it costs to bring in The Rock, and then that didn't even fucking work. Like
that made it worse
for the first time ever. Like the crowd and The Rock was like stunned. I don't know if you guys remember just looking at his face.
Oh yeah,
this was going on. He's like, what in the hell,
They said he left pissed. They said that he actually said to someone like Daniel Bryan should have won and like walked out because he knew he was pissed. He was pissed that they brought him in.
He confronted Vince about it. Yeah, he went off on him about it.
So when you're telling the company that your own cousin isn't the guy that they should have in place right now, that's not good.
Yeah, I mean, they brought him in for one purpose, and that was to smooth it over with the crowd because they knew the crowd was going to be pissed off about it, and they thought The Rock could smooth it over, and clearly he didn't.
What a mindset, though. What business says, all right, we know our customers are going to be pissed, so, like, if you know they're going to be pissed, then don't do it.
Yeah. Well, what other company in the world imagine that, the WWE mindset for how they push their stars has nothing to do with credibility or, ability. It's kind of like, what Vince McMahon said about Cesaro. We're not going to push him because he's Swedish. You know what I mean? Imagine a CEO of a major company saying, "Oh, we're not going to promote that person because they're black or because they're a female." I mean, they would be sued, and they would be publicly just crucified over stuff like that.
I mean, that is underlining Vince McMahon thinks that way, and there's so many subtle undertones that prove that. Like, why was R-Truth Devon, number one? Why was he Devon?
Right, exactly.
It's just like you get these undertones of like that's really how he thinks. Like, you've got the Russian guy, you've got R-Truth he comes out and raps. You've got all African American guys that come out to. I mean, it's how Vince thinks. The women go out there and get like 2 minutes tops in matches. I mean, that's always been his mindset, and I don't think it's going to go away until Triple H takes over, because I think that really is how he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't know when. I mean, Vince is obviously not going to retire at this point. He's what? He's almost 70 years old.
70, yeah.
Yeah. So if he's not retired now, he's probably not going to, unless he has a stroke or something like that. I mean, God forbid anything like that happens. But I mean, he's going to die, and as the CEO, as the boss. So none of this stuff, it doesn't look like anytime soon is going to change, unfortunately.
But just imagine being a company and your customers say, "Hey, if you do this, we'll buy your product or we'll promote your product," and then that company turns around and says, "Now we're going to do the opposite." Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, if you want that network to work, you need to, at least right now, give the fans exactly what they want and get your subscriptions up. If that's working, then keep on that path. If the subscriptions still don't go anywhere, then okay, then make some changes. But at this point, if that's their top priority, they should be doing everything they can to please people to get them to subscribe to that network. And the other thing, too, is, I thought they were going to have a commercial on the Super Bowl. I mean, why not? Do you know how many people, especially if they're doing the next month for free, that would have went to? Like, I don't know how much it costs to get on a commercial for Super Bowl, but that would have been a perfect time. I mean, Triple H and Stephanie were both in attendance at the Super Bowl. I'm surprised that they didn't do a network plug for a commercial for the Super Bowl. I mean, if they're in that desperate times to get that thing over, what a time that they should have did it, But again, I don't know why they keep dropping balls all over the place on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually how desperate they are anymore, because they did finally hit the 1 million subscriber number here recently too. So I don't know if that is.
I mean, they can't just sort of rest on their heels now just because they finally hit 1 million. Was it like probably a year and a half longer than they thought it was going to take to hit that 1 million? I mean, they can't rest now and be like, okay, whatever. But let me ask you guys a question. This is a question I was mulling around in my own head, and it kind of goes along with what you were saying, Garrett. And that's how much should the WWE listen to the fans insofar as how they book shows, who they push, and the direction of the company. How much should they listen to the fans? And I don't know. It seems like it can be a fine line between. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it should be a good percent, especially on top talent. As far as people that they want to bring up and try to get over, I think the fans are going to really dictate, if they're going to work or not. But for the big things, they should definitely listen to the fans. I mean, all the little stuff. They can try different things here and there, and something will catch on. But I feel they don't give people enough time to develop. And I just think that, when it comes to, like, the guy that they keep saying, we need to find the guy, Roman Reigns is the guy, that's a big problem that they've had for years. That my opinion is there shouldn't be the guy. There should be many different guys. Right. Because how can you sit there and rely on Roman Reigns for the next 10 years, or even still, they're lucky John Cena is how he is, because if he was gone with injury a couple years ago, they would have been screwed. They had no other guys that were at that caliber to rely on. Where back in the day, yeah, Hulk Hogan was the guy, but as a kid, it was Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan were like the top 3 guys. Then you get into Stone Cold, Rock, Triple H, Mankind. They were all doing different things. Mankind was on Chef Boyardee commercials. Rock was doing this, and if you saw those guys, they did TV guides with like a bunch of talent on the different TV guides. So when you saw these guys, you knew, okay, WWE, WWF. Now it's like, what do they just want? If someone sees, I don't know, Fandango on a magazine, they're not going to know who the hell that is, or Dolph Ziggler. But they need to do more to create multiple guys where if something doesn't work out or someone gets hurt, God forbid, they can just shuffle someone else in and have those guys feuding and, maybe switch the belts back and forth like they used to with Mankind and Foley and Rock. And those guys flip-flopped the belts so many times during that era that anybody that was on top was fine, and the guys kind of all stayed around the main event, and other matches seemed important because some of the other top guys were in those matches. That's where I think the biggest problem is. You can't look for one guy. There should be multiple guys, that they have as their top guys, because it's too risky that way. And case in point, Roman's not going over right now, and that's supposed to be your top guy. I don't know. I just don't know why that's the mindset with WWE, and that's, I think, the biggest problem is how they should listen to the fans, because you can have Ziggler, Ambrose, top guys with Bryan, Reigns. You can have multiple guys, and they can go off and do stuff and represent the company, and people look at all those guys as huge stars, and that just makes the business so much more important.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think once they publicly traded, they become like a publicly traded company, that's when things really changed. I think that's when they started playing very safe with their characters. Because ever since, you kind of have like one guy on top, and everybody's like 1A, 1B. Like CM Punk could have been the guy, and they didn't let him be the guy. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think in certain respects, I mean, they do, like, they allow some of their guys on other shows, like talk shows and stuff like that, or you'll see some commercials with Daniel Bryan featured, or, what was the video game commercial? They had Bray Wyatt and Cesaro in there and stuff. You'll see him, like, kind of featured every once in a while. But as far as the booking goes, they feel, for some reason, that they just need that one top guy. And they want Roman Reigns to be, I think they want him to be the next Cena, but he's not Cena. I mean, he's not a guy that I don't think is ever going to be able to go out there in the beginning of a show and have like a 20-minute interview spot where he can talk for 20 minutes. That's just not going to happen, So if they want to push him, make him a top guy, he's got to be his own damn guy. Give him, I think the best thing they could do is put Heyman with him and maybe turn him heel. And see where that goes from there, and see if, maybe he'll eventually get better on the mic, but I don't see him ever being a guy. Look at Brock Lesnar. When he speaks, it's just a little bit, and it works. He don't need to say anything else. Let somebody speak for him. He's a fucking ass-whipping machine. So, not everybody has to be like John Cena.
What's ironic? The irony is that John Cena wasn't even supposed to be the guy. It was supposed to be Batista or Orton. Those are the two really the chosen ones back in the day. And then those two didn't work out, and Cena was really the one selling tickets and merchandise, and he became the guy. So it's ironic that they're pushing this one guy who's not ready to be the number one guy. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think if Daniel Bryan was a foot taller or whatever, things might have be a little bit different for him. But I think in with the John Cena thing with him is like, yeah, he goes out there, works his ass off. He's he's not terrible in the ring. He's good on the mic. He does work hard, but merchandise sales for him is so high that's like, is Roman Reigns gonna really sell that kind of merchandise? I'd love to see who else is selling. I know Cena's like up here, but who's 2 and 3? They're probably a lot lower, but who are the other people selling? I guarantee Roman Reigns is not selling a lot of merchandise. His shit looks terrible anyways that they're selling on the site, but I'm just
a comic book shirt, man. I don't think too many people's gonna be buying that.
But what does Daniel Bryan's merchandise sales look like? I mean, he's so over, in the audience, and he's so good in the ring, and he's a great character. But is he selling the merchandise? I mean, I'm curious to know that if he's
you
absolutely.
Know what, though, too, man. Like John's, if you go on there and look at the merchandise, though, too. Like I don't even know how accurate that is, because John Cena probably has like 200 different damn things on there,
right?
As opposed to somebody like Dean Ambrose who might have 2 or 3 shirts on there, something like that. I mean, I don't really know. I'm sure the kids buy all the Cena stuff, and Cena's stuff, like, it's pretty much the same damn shirt. They just put slightly different, colors and designs and stuff on there. I don't really I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think a lot of it has to do with just the amount of merchandise they put up there for Cena.
Yeah, because they know it'll sell.
I read somewhere that Daniel Bryan was actually number 2 in merchandise and Ambrose was number 3. So I don't understand how they're booking these 2 guys in this position that they're in.
Although they don't have a clue with Ambrose what to do, I don't think.
Roman Reigns' shirt should say actions greater words.
That's
that's
better than what he's got out there, man.
Magic beans.
And
you want down the shirt?
And yeah, and just let him be a man of few words, but when he does speak, it makes sense, or you listen. And because I don't know what's their criteria for a top guy. You've got to have a marketable look. You've got to have charisma. You've got to be able to talk on the mic. But I mean, what would happen if Bret Hart broke in today? You know what I mean? Bret Hart didn't have a lot of charisma. He didn't talk on the mic. Great.
Brian.
I mean,
he'd be probably where Daniel Bryan is hanging out, to be honest. Well, Ziggler. I mean, yeah. I think Bret Hart was just in the right place at the right time. Back then, it was just it was that time where the steroid scandal was up. They were losing a lot of their big guys, and he was just getting popular, and he wasn't their plan either. I think Luger was their plan, and then Bret just was kind of in that Daniel Bryan position where, he was just a little bit more popular than Luger, so they said, okay, well, let's go with him. It's a safer bet, but they're not thinking that way anymore. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean.
I think the heat he's gotten isn't directed at him personally, kind of like the heat that John Cena gets. People just don't seem to like John Cena all around. The reason people don't seem to like Roman Reigns, at least to me, is just the way he's being booked and the way he's being pushed, and how the promos just aren't him. They're not him. They're not true to who he is. I mean, he doesn't seem like the life of the party, the most outgoing kind of guy, but he doesn't need to be that to be a top guy in the company. We don't need John Cena. The last thing we need is John Cena 2.0. That's the last thing we need.
You're exactly right, because he sells merch. He's good in the ring, this, that, and this. But your top guy shouldn't be half booed and half cheered. That's not really what you would think your top guy would be. You think you want to have a top guy that everybody kind of likes, from kids to adults, a Stone Cold or The Rock or Hulk Hogan, or not somebody that's kind of on that half and half, and Roman's already starting on a bad foot. And I think the problem with that is the internet. The problem is the internet in the sense that we knew Roman Reigns was the guy they wanted a year and a half ago. So that, I think, is the problem. Even Cena was more organic at the beginning to become the face than Reigns is. So if someone says to you, hey, this new movie came out and you have to like it, a part of you is going to be like, well, I don't have to like it. But now you have to. So it's the same idea. I don't want to be told, hey, you have to like this guy because this is all we're going to give you for the next 10 years. That pisses me off, because it's well, I don't want to be told that. I don't want to be told who I need to cheer for, or that's where I think the problem started with Roman, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon unless they let him take a back seat for a little while in some capacity, even if it's to turn heel or for now, because unless he gets over naturally, he's always going to have that stigma that was he's the chosen one, like they said before.
But do you think they'll turn him heel? And then what's going to happen with Mania?
I think they have no choice. I mean, Brock will be cheered at Mania. I don't.
Yeah, one way or another. Yeah.
There's
One
nothing they can do from now till then that he's not going to get cheered. So if he's really leaving for UFC, that match is going to be a bust then. I don't know what they're going to do.
It's even funny because they're doing this feud now with Bryan and Reigns, and it's weird how they're booking it because they seem to be both kind of playing heels against each other. It's very, I'm not sure who the face is, who the heel is, and it's just very odd. Like, I don't know what term, Bryan heel, which is really dumb if you do that. But it's weird.
Like, I kind of tried that once, actually.
Right. It feels like Bryan's the instigator of the feud, and it's like, that shouldn't be, it should be the other way around. I just don't understand how they're booking it.
They're either going to turn Reigns heel at Fastlane, maybe, or they're going to use Daniel Bryan to endorse Reigns at Fastlane. So if Reigns wins, it's either going to be because he went heel and beat the shit out of Bryan, or at the end of the match, Bryan's holding his hand up saying, "Oh, he's the better man." It's got to be one of those two things, because I think that they might say, okay, well, maybe Bryan can help get him over with his fans, but I don't think that'll work either.
Right.
I don't know. No, I think that'll just downgrade Bryan. That'll just downgrade Bryan. Yeah,
definitely would.
Yeah, I think what they're going to do is whatever the finish is with Reigns, and it's going to be some sort of screw job. Whoever, I don't know if it's going to be Ziggler. That's the rumor. Is going to cost Bryan the match, I would think, and that'll lead up to whatever match they're going to have at Mania. That would be my guess.
That makes no sense. Like, why would he even do that? Like,
but would you really try to put Ziggler back to a heel at this point, or would you I personally would rather see face Bryan Ziggler, have it split with the fans and every not have a heel in that situation, because that just makes things so normal. I like the whole idea where every once in a while getting that match where it's not just a face versus heel. Like, Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan was very split, and with those two, it's kind of like, hey, guess what? These are our two most popular guys that can work, and they're going to go in at it and have a great match, and we're going to let you guys either cheer for both of them or pick a side. To me is more interesting than a straight up heel and a face, because it's too simple that way. I think
those two can steal the show. I mean, easily. Those two can steal the show.
And I'm wondering if they're afraid of that, because now that was a lock, and now they're going back on it. So they're saying now, Ziggler might go in a tag team with Ryback, do something there. So which that's the case, then where does that leave Bryan? Does Bryan headline Mania with Brock? Is there a triple threat match? Does Bryan end up going back to Sheamus, which would be the worst thing they could do? So it really just kind of opens up a lot of doors where we still don't know where all this is going.
I think either way, Fastlane, the main event, has to end on a clean finish. I think if Reigns is going to win, it has to be clean. Because if it's a screw job, his credibility is still in question. I think the point of this match is to kind of make people believe he actually is the guy to beat Brock Lesnar. So,
or he could, like Garrett was saying, he could turn heel at Fastlane.
Right.
And somehow Heyman could get with him, or I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think it's going to involve Reigns turning heel. I would be surprised if they didn't do that.
I think they're going to no contest for some reason. I kind of think they're going to do like a WrestleMania 10 deal where Brock defends it twice against each one of them.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Like, just judging on the main event of the Rumble, like, and I know that they're financially, like, they're not in the best spot right now with the network. It's costing them a lot of money. But man, I mean, after seeing that match, the triple threat match, like, I would pay Lesnar whatever he wants, because he's one of the few guys they've got that seems like, when you see him wrestle, it's like a special event, and he's like one of the very few. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be something you don't see every week on Raw or SmackDown or whatever. So I think that they need to keep him in some capacity. Like, I don't know if that's happening or not. Probably not. But, man, I mean, that triple threat match at the Rumble, that was one of the best matches I've seen in a WWE show in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that almost saved the Rumble in and of itself. I mean, just that match alone. That was
should have been the last
down
match on the show.
Should have been. Yeah, absolutely. Should have been.
Left the fans with a better taste, I think, in their mouth.
I have a feeling that if they had left it last, they would have booted it out of the building. Just because of Reigns' victory.
I mean, it probably would have got booed for a while, but there was so much good in that match, I think it would have at least got people on board for a while, because there was so much stuff that you couldn't boo through, from that match.
Yeah.
But you're right. They need to pay Brock what he wants. He's so different than anybody that they have. He is a guy that just should show up every once in a while, especially for big pay-per-views. I mean, the guy goes out there. I don't know how much they're paying that guy, but he works his ass off out there. He's taking bumps for people. He's so fast. How do you get up to your feet and catch someone in a curb stomp? How do you do that so fast? It's just like he's unreal. So he's definitely somebody they need to just pay and keep him around. He should be their guy, that they're looking for.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, like Rollins too. I mean, he's like the total package, really.
Yep.
I mean, he's somebody that can
the
talk.
Most longevity, I think, out of all the Shield members right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got an awesome, just asshole personality. I mean, I think that he's definitely. I mean, they're pushing him that way too. He's the top heel for a while there, I think.
It's nice to see a heel who actually wants to be a heel. He's not trying to be cool. He's not trying to have fans like him. He's a douchebag, and it's great. Mm-hmm. And you want to see him get beat. That's the best part about it.
Mm-hmm.
He does a great job, and ring work's great. His mic work is far beyond anything I thought it would become. I think he does a solid job, every time on the mic. His character's good. He's got a good look. I mean, he really is right now the person to watch, really.
Mm-hmm. I think they overexposed him there for a while. The too long promos, the promos that were going just way too long and just getting annoying, at least for me. But they've kind of brought those back a little bit, and I mean, there's no question what he could do on the ring is spectacular when they let him go. Unfortunately, It seems like since he's been the heel, they kind of want to keep him grounded a little bit. Mm-hmm. And but when he does, do the high flying stuff, like when he bounced off Brock Lesnar like he was a freaking on that table. I mean, he like flew, he hit him and like bounced 10 feet up in the air. I mean, that was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. But for me, Ambrose is I love Dean Ambrose. For me, he's the total package. Can talk, a lot of charisma, great in ring. It's just going to be finding him a spot, finding him sort of, I don't know, a niche. And I mean, I think if you booked him similar to like Stone Cold, he's a guy who could be your top guy too.
Mm-hmm. He was for a while. When he was out, he was the one that took over, and they booked him really dumb. The Bray Wyatt hologram, the TV monitor that blew in his face. I mean, I'm still not over that.
It seems like he's a character you don't really take seriously anymore.
Right, he's a comedy character now. Yeah. That's the problem.
Like when you're bashing people with Christmas ornaments and shit like that too. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't think he should be doing stuff like that. I don't know. I think that he's a little lost in the shuffle right now with all these guys that have come back. And I think that happened with Dolph Ziggler a little bit too when Daniel Bryan came back. Like they kind of forgot about him a little bit. There's all kinds of these great guys too. I mean, look at all the talent they have. Bad News Barrett, man. I mean, guys like that, they don't have a chance. I mean, none of these guys have any riders, I guess, on their side trying to throw them a damn bone at all, or little nibble.
Well, even a guy like Fandango, who I think is really talented, but I mean, they just, he's in this stupid gimmick where he's, the dancing guy. I mean, they need to give him a Ravishing Rick Rude kind of gimmick, and man, I think he'd be phenomenal. He's great in the ring. You really don't hear him that much on the mic, but I mean, put a Bobby Heenan guy with him and let him be the ravishing Rick Rude of the 21st century. He could do a phenomenal job, and he's great in the ring. He's got a great look. Again, another great guy who's just sort of lost in oblivion. He actually got a win the other night, so
Yeah.
it was over Adam Rose. So, I mean, it doesn't count for much, but it was a win's a win.
He was great in NXT when he was there. I mean, the early days of NXT, he was one of the highlights, and they gave him that dancer gimmick and just ruined him. I don't know why that gimmick was put on him.
I think they need to get more input from the wrestlers too, like the writers as well, because if you have all this material coming from the same writers, it makes everything seem like, all the interview segments seem kind of like robotic in a way. I mean, you don't have your own, spin on it, and they should let the wrestlers do that. At least a few of them. I know Bray Wyatt does it a little bit, but I think that they should have some input at some point, some of these wrestlers to come up with some of their own material.
I mean, they need to get some freaking decent writers, or like have, you've got, great wrestlers still on the payroll who are legends, let them put in some input. I mean, they've been around, they know, some of them have even booked. So, I mean, I think they do a better job in creative than, whoever these writers are.
I mean, what about someone like Paul Heyman? I mean, you look at what he did at ECW. I mean, what Paul Heyman was good at was he was good at making a nobody into a somebody. And that's what I think they really need right now is they need to make their guys like a Fandango, like, Cesaro. They need to make them top guys. So either, that's what I think he's strong at. So he could I think write them and make them bigger stars. Not saying that they're going to get the title, but at the same time, you could think they're contenders. Back in the Attitude Era, you had guys like Godfather, Val Venus, that, Ken Shamrock, that were really over, and they were, always kind of hanging around mid-card, but then every once in a while, one of them would get thrown in a main event spot, and you kind of questioned what would happen, like they were good at that back then, where Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, they never had a chance, so look what ended up happening to them. I think that's what they need to do is focus on how they can get these guys to be top stars, not necessarily main eventers, but top stars, that people are going to recognize them outside of just Monday Night Raw. And maybe it is a stable. Maybe you need to have a stable with Paul Heyman that, like a Heenan family type stable where you just grab a bunch of these guys and get them out there, not necessarily together, but, all have a similar manager and him out there with them. But
right. Well, have you guys heard interviews? Sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but have you guys heard interviews with like writers that they've let go? Have you guys heard interviews with
the ones from? I've heard like the ones they did with like Vince Russo and like Ferrara and stuff before from Attitude Era. I've heard them talk.
I've heard interviews with writers that they've let go, like, within the past few years, and all of their backgrounds are the same. It's like, we went to UCLA Film School.
Mm-hmm.
I have a degree in film, in script. They go to film school. They're screenwriters. They're in the film industry, and screenwriting on film and script writing for a wrestling show are clearly two different things, because they could be writing some awesome scripts, but once the wrestling thing, WWE loves to call themselves a episodic television show, but let's transpose a WWE storyline to like an episode of Walking Dead. Imagine that Vince McMahon is the showrunner for The Walking Dead, and that writing staff is now writing The Walking Dead. Here's an episode. Here's a character arc. They introduce a new character. They put a lot of time and effort into that character. They're really building that character up like they're going to be someone crucial to the series going forward. Maybe they've got some kind of special ability, like they're immune to the zombie disease, whatever. They're in several episodes, and then all of a sudden they disappear. They're gone for a month. Nobody mentions them in that time. Everybody's going, what the hell happened to this character? Then in the first 5 minutes of the next episode, they show up, they get bit, and they die. Oh, I guess they're not immune. We're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a WWE storyline transposed to actual, real episodic television.
No, you're right on point. The problem is they forget about things too quick. They don't let things take off. They kill it before they can make it hot, and the continuity is terrible. And that's because these people that they bring in don't know the product. Perfect examples I'm always going to use is the whole Kane and Katie Vick storyline. That didn't make any sense at all. That was complete bullshit. That was a laughable storyline because it had no continuity to that character, and it almost just totally broke professional wrestling altogether because how can you just have a storyline come in that would have made no sense to a person's backstory? So I mean that's really what it is exactly what you're saying. There's no continuity, and they forget about things before they even let them get started.
Kane is the worst character at continuity. It's just headache to even think about his story.
But think about how good Kane came along so well that he sat in Paul Bearer's house, burned for years. Then he ended up going to college with a mask on, and he couldn't talk. And then he learned how to talk later. And now he's like, what is he? He's like a corporate guy now. So I mean, he came a long way from someone who was living in Paul Bearer's house, burned for the first.
He had mental scars. He didn't have physical scars. He had mental scars.
He did good for himself, though.
Well, let's not forget that brief time where he was a dentist. So I mean,
Big Diesel.
He does have some education. Yeah. So
he went to the dental academy there. No, but it's different than a movie or a TV show too, because TV shows always end the season and it's gone for a year. Yeah, movies, right. There's always a starting point and an end point with a movie. With WWE, it never really stops is the thing. I mean, people can talk about storylines and stuff all they want to, but you got 3 hours of TV, and you've got I don't know how many damn wrestlers they have on their roster every Monday night. It's difficult. It is. I could imagine that would be like you would be severely burnt out after a brief period of time writing for WWE. It wouldn't be an easy job. That's why I think they should really take suggestions. I mean, you've got your writers that I know they have to pretty much go by a script, but can't these writers go in there with the wrestlers and say, "Give me some ideas. What's something you want to do?" Even some of the guys they're not using, like I think they're really missing the boat with Cesaro. He's one of the guys where I'm like, what in the hell is this guy? Mm-hmm. They're doing a little tag team with him now, which is cool and everything, but he went from winning that Royal Rumble or the Battle Royale at WrestleMania to pretty much doing nothing for some reason.
Yeah, he's too Swedish. Just too Swedish.
Swiss.
The WWE
Swiss.
the WWE hates the Swiss. It's too Swiss.
It's too neutral.
I mean, yeah, the way he was booked, again, continuity and that last WrestleMania when he won that Battle Royal, if you took that moment and said, next year this guy's going to headline Mania against Brock, and they prepped him from then till now, it would have all made sense for him. It wouldn't have been weird, or it wouldn't have not made sense. That type of thing that he won last year is a catapult to say, this guy in a year is going to be one of our top guys, and that would make total sense. But that whole thing now is the biggest joke, because all he's done since then has gone down, and it doesn't make any sense. Why even have him win if there had to have been a plan somewhere, and I don't know what happened.
Is that if they want him to fail? It's like the music is terrible. Paul Heyman was talking about Brock Lesnar before he talked about him. He should have turned face. They kept him heel. I mean, it's really bad. I don't know what they do with him.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he pissed the wrong person off backstage. That's got to be it. He's in purgatory. He's still in purgatory. He's still paying those amends to whoever. Well, he pissed the wrong person off backstage.
He's buddies with Cena. He's buddies with Triple H. So I mean, right then and there, you would think that he would be a top guy, but I mean that's not even helping him out. It's something with Vince that's just not doing it for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the body hair. You can't jerk off.
I think it's something other than the fact that he's, like Vince said, Swiss. He's pissed somebody off, like Pizzo was saying, and he's just doing time right now. I think maybe eventually down the line he will. They'll bring him back up at some point and do something interesting with him.
Whenever I look at where Ryback is now, I have hope for Cesaro. Sooner or later they'll go, okay, he's paid his debts, he's paid his dues.
Yeah.
We'll get him. We'll get him over.
I'm surprised Ryback is in the position where he isn't in now, because I think he's a lot better now. I think he's definitely elevated since he got injured.
Came back. So. Yeah. Which is good. I mean, I
like him too.
I like him. That's somebody they missed the boat on, and they're, he's still not at his full capacity. I mean, the people still go over for him pretty well, and the WWE doesn't do much to push that. I feel like they just put him out, and he's actually pretty good at getting himself over, which is interesting, because they don't do much to get him, as over as he could be. He's doing a lot on his own, I feel like.
Yeah, but he's another one of those guys who's kind of like, okay, well, what are we gonna do with him? He's over. The fans like him, but he's not in our it guy picture. So I mean, what are we gonna do with him?
Exactly, and that's where everybody is. Like, case in point, I was talking to Freddie earlier. Randy Orton's about to come back, and that's going to be a huge thing for them, and so he's going to get put in probably with Rollins, this, that, and this. Right. But then the other thing is, like, Sheamus is coming back too, and it's like, where does he go? It's almost like, why even bring him back? If they just let him go tomorrow, I don't think it would make any difference in the world, and that sucks. I'm not a big Sheamus fan, but that's exactly how it is. If he never comes back, he's not missing anything. What is he going to do at this point?
Well, and the question is, who do they downgrade when they bring those two guys back? Because they're going to put them, they're going to throw them right onto not main event status, but I mean they're going to throw them right into the spotlight. So who gets downgraded so those guys can get more spotlight time?
Ryback, Ziggler, maybe one of those two guys. I don't know.
Probably.
Well, Ambrose is already downgraded, so.
But here's a question going into, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here, but, if Brock is out, Roman's in, he becomes champion, what are the feuds we're looking at in 2015 for Reigns? Who are those feuds really? Is it heel Reigns face Cena? Is it Bryan Reigns? Is it Seth versus Reigns, Ambrose versus? I mean, I don't. Or Bray versus Reigns. Like, I just don't really know who's, is it going to be Big Show Reigns for 3 months like they did with Kane and Daniel Bryan? I don't know.
No.
I just don't know where this all goes.
I don't think they even think about that.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean, I guess it depends on if he's going to be a heel or if he's going to be a face after WrestleMania.
I think if Rollins cashes in on him on Mania, it's going to be a feud with him and Rollins, obviously. That's gonna be
yeah.
But I think as a heel, he'll have more opportunities to really face a lot of good guys like Ziggler and Ambrose and Bryan and Cena. There's guys that really can help him become a better wrestler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So, I guess after the Rumble, God kind of saved the company on Monday night. Because I was so looking forward to that Raw. Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh man, this is just going to be so awesome to see, And that saved him more than anything, I think. And they kind of realized that, and they tried starting that night, I think. They had a great segment on there with Reigns and Lesnar and Heyman. And Heyman was like, dude, like, you've got to keep Heyman around regardless. Like, he is... That was one of the best segments he had been in, and I can't tell you how long. And he kind of saved, I think, that match in a way. And you fast forward to the next week on Raw, and they booked Reigns a little better, than they had been. He delivered, like, the spear he gave the Big Show was pretty fucking awesome, I gotta say. Like, I was like, what the hell? Looked like he really was launching up in the air, and so. I don't think it's as bad as last year's where the fans could totally hijack Mania, especially if they keep booking it this way. But there's always that chance because there's a hardcore fan base at Mania still that could totally shit on that match, regardless of what happens, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I'm wondering is going to be the last match at Mania. Because if that's the last match at Mania, you know, do you really want that to be the last image of your show?
Well, I think the last image is going to be Seth Rollins hoisting the title in the air.
Unless they do Sting and Triple H as the main event, which is possible.
Okay. I don't see that being the main event, but I can totally see Reigns winning, but Rollins cashing in and winning.
That's why that's going to happen.
Yeah. I can totally see that happening. I think that's how it should go. I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still kind of confused on if that's probably how it should go if Reigns is going to win.
Yep.
And then it's like, but then it's what, does Reigns chase kind of like for a while as the face, or is now, you know, Seth looked at as a face and Reigns looked at, you know what I mean? I don't know if they're gonna flip.
Because I was hoping like Bryan would beat Reigns. Reigns kind of turns heel because of that. So then at Mania, Bryan beats Lesnar. Reigns comes in, maybe spears Daniel Bryan, and then Rollins cashes it on him after that. And you kind of wondered, is there an alliance again between Reigns and Rollins?
There really should be. There really should be an alliance, and I think it would really help Reigns in the long run. I'm looking at Reigns as like he's gonna be like the Diesel of next year. Like that's the run I feel like he's gonna have is like, you know, Diesel was semi-over, but it was kind of a boring year. Like, he fought Mabel. You know, he didn't really... It was like a lot... He fought Sid. It was like a lot of bullshit, you know? And
Mabel beat Big Show. Sid will beat Kane. So.
Yeah, like, I'm just kind of looking at that's how it's going to be. So, what I'm saying is I think that if he does align with Rollins as the champion, Reigns kind of like his hired gun, almost like a Shawn Michaels Diesel type of combination where... You know, they do have history together, so it's continuity there. Right. And, you know, eventually Reigns kind of just get tired of being Seth Rollins' bitch for the next 6 months and then kind of turns on him once he's had enough. And I think that might be enough of a natural reaction if Rollins is still a real big heel, that Reigns could start to get over on his own at that point.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that would be the way they can twist it, you know?
I think that would work, but I think that makes way too much sense for the WWE to consider.
It makes too much sense because I think the WWE doesn't want to wait for some weird reason. Everything has to be done now. I mean, Reigns has a lot of time left, and you're better off developing him the right way than to try to rush it because it's the same thing. He's doomed if he's pushed down everybody's throats. He's done. That's why he's done now. I mean, they have... slightly fixed his booking since Rumble. He's not doing comedy bullshit right now, which is good. He's not saying stupid catchphrases. He's kind of being that soft-spoken, like you said, actions speak louder than words, kind of a badass. Like the last 2 weeks since the Rumble, he's been better. But I still think if people know he's being forced down your throats, it's still not going to work as a face, I don't think. So... I'm curious to see what happens.
It's going to be really interesting to see where they go after Mania because I think they've got everything pretty much planned out to Mania, but after that, I mean, who knows? You know, I mean, CM Punk said it himself. You know, they don't look anywhere beyond what's right in front of their faces. You know, so I think the game plan is to, you know, probably get the belt around Roman Reigns, and then beyond that, I mean.
They're pretty much toast for a few months then. That's like that's what always happens. They're like, whatever, and that's why the May and June pay-per-views suck ass usually. Money in the Bank's pretty good, but that usually lets us know where they're going at least for the next couple of months. But other than that, I don't really see after Mania. I see it being kind of a dead time for a little while, you know. And Seth Rollins pretty much has to cash in at Mania, wouldn't you think? I mean, is anything going to happen with that? You think he's going to lose?
It's never happened. I think it has to happen at that show.
Has to happen. Yep, has to happen.
Whether he is successful or not, it has to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Mania as, and I think it should be this way, how, you just said the next couple pay-per-views are usually garbage anyways after Mania, but to me, I almost feel like WrestleMania should be your reset every year. I feel like that should be the reset button for what's to come for the next year. So, you got Mania, and the Raw after Mania is always like the starting point, I feel like. Like, Mania is the reset, the night after is the starting point, and I watched WrestleMania last year, and then I think the next pay-per-view after that was Extreme Rules from last year.
Right.
And it actually was heading in a real good direction. Like, Extreme Rules was actually a really good pay-per-view, except for the fact that, we saw Daniel Bryan versus Kane again. But the match was decent, that street fight they had. They were on a really good path. Cesaro was getting up there as a top guy at that point. Shield was over as almost like they were becoming faces, and I think that was totally a great direction they were heading in. And I think once the Daniel Bryan injury came, it screwed a lot up for what they want to do, and I think a lot of stuff ended up getting rushed, like the Shield breakup and all that stuff, because I think they kind of scrambled on what to do, and that's where I think things just really got shitty because of that. And that's exactly my point, is you can't have one top guy because Brian got hurt, and then it was like, okay, we got to get Reigns up there, and then he got hurt, and then it's been shit ever since.
Right.
All right. But what are some of the other matches? I know Sting and Triple H. That's probably going to be confirmed at the Fastlane show.
Mm-hmm. Bray Undertaker.
Yeah, but I'm not sure about that. I mean, you would think that you would have heard something.
The promo seemed to indicate Undertaker, because he's kind of talking about like fear, and he used to do like, the fear of the WWE, and that you're watching me, and we want you to come back. Kind of like someone who's been away a while. So.
But do you guys really want to see that match? I mean, will that be a?
No, I really don't care. But what else can Bray do at this point? I really don't know.
I think if they were going to do that match. It seems like we talked about this a couple of months ago or something. They should do like promos with Bray like in the desert in Death Valley or something, looking for him. Do something like old school, and really script out the promos and make them be really good, or have him in a graveyard, or do something cool like that to get people into it. If Taker's not really wanting to do a match, I would just do a little spot with him or something. I mean.
Right.
Like, he's still got unfinished business with Lesnar. Like, you could do something at the end of the match with Lesnar and Reigns where he could come out there or something like that. At least, I don't know. I think Undertaker, I would say he would sit this Mania out and maybe come back next year.
Maybe it's Boogeyman he's talking about. I don't know. He came back in Rumble.
Maybe it's his brother Bo.
Could
be. Maybe. Yeah.
Which again was a big missed opportunity in that Royal Rumble too. When he's sitting there talking on the microphone, and I think if Bo Dallas' music would have hit and they would have went face to face, I think that would have got a real big reaction. But instead, it was Zack Ryder, and I was like, "What? That was friggin' awful."
There was all kinds of moments like that too. Like, I thought for sure Randy Orton was going to come out as soon as DDP was like, Diamond cutting her. That would have been cool as hell. Even though, like, I'm not a big Randy Orton fan, but that would have been something interesting.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, Undertaker being at Mania would be cool, I guess. But he wins. Yeah, he wins. He has to. And then what? But then where's Bray go? That just totally puts him on a big stop, right? It's not like he would be the next in line for a title shot after a loss like that.
But what if Bray wins? I mean, there's no more streak. So I mean, it seems like Undertaker would be more.
Maybe he'll have a losing streak now. He'll have a losing streak.
Well, it just seems like now that the streak is over, if they're going to use Taker at WrestleMania, I mean, what's the significance of it other than Taker's back at WrestleMania? It seems like he'd do more good putting people over now, as opposed to what's he gonna do? Restart the streak, and because I mean he's not getting any younger.
Yeah.
So I mean I don't know.
Well, if he puts Bray over, then Bray has to be number one contender for the world title. I think that's the only way to do that.
I agree.
And Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, I think would be a good feud. I think they could have good matches.
Good.
Promos would be crap, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see what Roman can do in a match that's decently long, because him and Lesnar is going to have to be a pretty, going to have to be a pretty long match, and I'm just curious on how he's going to hang. Number one, and number two is, Brock's solid and Brock's good, but I don't know. Having Brock in there with someone like Reigns just feels to me like it could get real sloppy really quick.
It's going to be very stiff and probably very sloppy. Very stiff, very sloppy. I can see that.
So that that kind of makes me nervous too. Is just like I feel like if Reigns can't talk Brock through that match, it's gonna get ugly. I feel like Brock will just start doing things, probably hurt Reigns or whatever. Because if he can't get carried to that match, it's gonna be tough, man. Because think about everybody Brock's worked with since he's been back. People that carried the matches for him: Cena, Triple H, Undertaker. I'm sure he wasn't calling that match. It was everybody else. So, Bryan could call a match. I don't think Reigns is ready to do that yet.
Well, something that we didn't mention,
maybe they'll just feed him the match through an earpiece, like they did at that like they did at the Raw. Just feed it to him through his earpiece, like you did that promo.
What were you saying, Wes?
Something that I was thinking though, like that they should do maybe on Raw after Mania, because next year they announced that they're going to have the WrestleMania 32 in Dallas at that fucking Cowboys Stadium in Dallas. That's like it could totally break all their records if they sell it out. What is going to be that match next year that's going to sell that place out? That's what I was wondering. I was like, who in the hell are they going to bring in?
Cena versus Reigns. That'll be the main event.
Who is it?
No way.
I have a feeling it's going to be Cena versus Reigns. That's going to be the main event. I have a feeling.
I can see it happen.
Yeah.
I can see it happening. Totally. Yep.
He's not going to be ready by then. I'm telling you, he's not going to be ready. He's not ready now. He's not going to be over enough, I don't think, at that point. Unless he is the top heel of the company by then.
Unless Cena fights like Undertaker or Stone Cold or somebody like that, I see Cena being the main event of next year's WrestleMania.
You think it'd be Rock and Reigns?
You could do Rock and Reigns, yeah. There's another one.
What about Stone Cold?
Stone Cold.
Cena versus Cena.
If he's ever going to come back.
How about Hogan?
Oh, Hogan needs to go away.
Hogan was rumored for this year.
Yeah, Hogan wants one more match. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do.
How about fight Rusev or somebody like that?
You could get Hogan and Cena versus Rusev and whoever. Find somebody for Rusev.
Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov.
That would work.
How about Hogan and Cena?
Nikolai Volkov would be good.
Hogan and Cena versus Reigns and The Rock. We'll do that.
Mm-hmm. They'll probably do something like that.
I think, honestly though, man, I think that they want to announce that match really soon. They should, to get people, like they did a couple years ago for Rock and Cena.
I mean, do you think Taker and Sting would be a Dallas match, considering Undertaker? You think they would do that?
Both their last matches, yes.
Like a double retirement match or something?
Yeah.
Possibly.
That'd be cool.
They're going to have to do something real special for that, I would think, though, if they want to. Because that could get over 100,000 or something like that full.
I think it's 108,000 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no way they're selling that out unless they get something really special for that show.
I think if Stone Cold comes back for that show, it'll sell out.
Well, it's got to be something good though. He can't just be a, in a Legends match or something. They got to set up something cool, where they're doing that podcast thing is what I was thinking. Maybe they could set it up that way.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Where somebody, I don't know who, just gets totally pissed off at him and tries to go after him or something. I don't know.
I mean, if you could get Ambrose as a top heel, I think he would be pretty cool to kind of go against Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the real question here is, where's the Ascension going? Because let me answer it right now. That's to the top. No, to the top. Okay.
I want to see the Ascension versus Demolition at Mania.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow.
I mean, I saw Demolition not too long ago. They were at a convention here. I don't think they're ready to do that. I am gonna tell you though. You know who does still look pretty good? Is Powers of Pain is still pretty good. They still look like they could go. I think Warlord's like a bouncer, like in Florida or something like that. So he still looks pretty big when I saw him. He was still in good shape.
Will you pass the wellness exam?
I don't know about that. I don't think he'd take it for a one-time deal.
As long as he brings his wand with a W, I'm okay.
And the Doctor style with him.
Oh,
lick me flick.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they could do something with Road Warrior Animal. I mean, and
Heidenreich.
Yeah, you could do.
Mario was dead.
You could bring out Animal and John Laurinaitis to go against him.
Or Animal's son could come out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Stone Cold podcast though, or Steve Austin podcast, did you guys check out the Triple H interview on there?
Yep.
Not yet.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Like Garrett and I were talking before the show, and just how like it's on the WWE Network, but it was even more kind of behind the scenes access than the McMahon one was. I think. Like it was just, I was kind of surprised at some of the stuff they were talking about.
Like China.
Yeah, the China, like for some reason I didn't even think of that he would ask him about the whole China situation, but yeah, that was on there. He pretty much said it was kind of funny. He was trying to tap dance his way about, yeah, she could be in the Hall of Fame, totally. There's no bad feelings here, but if you're a kid and you don't know who China is, you can go online, type that name in, and see her getting butt fucked.
You put X-Pac in there. They're not gonna find anything about him.
It doesn't matter.
Well,
Mike Tyson raped a woman. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, didn't she do the Playboy? Didn't she do the Playboy spread while she was with WWE at WWE's behest?
Yeah, they started the whole road. They started it.
Yeah. So
the road to nowhere, if you will.
Little hypocritical on his part, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys.
I think Sable has to go in this year if Lesnar's leaving, though.
Yes, she definitely has to go in. I don't know what they're waiting for with that. She should definitely be in there.
Yeah, I think that'll probably happen this year.
Yeah, I think Demolition would be a good pick for this year too, actually.
Yeah, they could do something. They could probably do something with Demolition and the Ascension at the Hall of Fame ceremony. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, though. I mean, anything else you guys want to mention on here, on this little Road to WrestleMania special?
I wanted to ask if any of you guys had saw. I posted a link to it in the WrestleManiacs chat on Facebook. It was an interview with Alberto Del Rio where he was talking about some of the backstage stuff going on with WWE, and they asked him about the promos, and he said that the promos are scripted to, the punctuation, and if you deviated one word from that script in your promo, you would be fined. Wow. Did you guys read that?
Mm-mm.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
No. Wow.
Yeah. If you deviate one word, you will be fined. He also talked about how some of the wrestlers they try to they schmooze and kiss ass with some of the writers so that they'll get better storylines, and just the atmosphere of just sort of Vince being out of touch, and just that it was just a very tense backstage atmosphere, and that a lot of the wrestlers really aren't happy, but there's no other place for them to go, so they stick around for a paycheck.
Yeah, I'd imagine too that would make it even worse for if you're going out there cutting a promo, you're going to be scared to death you flub a word or two. I mean, that's bullshit right there if that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He said any little, not only fines, but you walk a very tight rope with the uppity ups backstage too, because again, if you mess up, you can fall down the ladder really, really quickly.
Well, I think Cesaro said there were 4 ropes, remember?
Yeah, exactly.
4 ropes. That's right.
Then he corrected him, so he's like 4 sides.
Yeah, whatever.
So he's in big trouble now. He just got docked a ton of money for that one. Yeah, it sucks because I wish they had more freedom, because I think the promos would be better if they were.
And Triple H mentioned that in the podcast too. Like he kind of wants NXT. Like NXT is pretty much a free kind of forum.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's trying to build. I don't understand how those 2 brands are so different from the other. It's just very jarring to me.
Right. Yeah. They have a lot of freedom in NXT, but then when they come up to WWE, it's very restricted and constricted. And here's an awful gimmick, and here's your script written on like a napkin. Don't deviate 1 word, or you're done. So
it's really weird because NXT, if you think about it, I don't think the gimmicks are so over down there, and the characters are so over with the crowd down there. I don't think any of those characters or gimmicks have worked on the main roster because you look at the Shield, and they came from NXT, but that gimmick didn't apply down there. That gimmick was made for the WWE. They all had different gimmicks down there in NXT. The only one that I think that kind of is still over is Bray. I mean, he's the only one that's still making it work, but everybody else, isn't working. I mean, I can understand Adam Rose not working. I get it. But, someone like Bo Dallas could easily work. Emma, I mean, what's the real excuse there that can't work, or she can't work? I just don't understand why there's such a disconnect from what they do down there that's so over, and then as soon as they get here, it just doesn't work. I don't. Is it time? Do they not give them enough time to develop? I don't know.
I think it's just a system, really. I mean, they get lost in the system. They're just another employee after they do what they're told. You see a lot of the same wrestlers every week, and I guess that a lot of them just lucky to be. They feel like they're lucky to be there. Like I think Paige is one of those examples. I mean, she was just so much different in NXT than what she is now. She's just kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, I don't know how she's not more dominant in that division than she is. I think her being on Divas has actually made her worse on the show because it's almost like she's just
a goofball.
She's almost a parody of herself, kind of now because she's on that show, and she's not taken seriously as a threat, as a dominant diva. She's almost kind of like she acts like how old she is at this point. She acts like a kid. And I think that show has done her nothing good as far as that division. And I don't know how that division is going to get any better until all those other girls get up here.
It seems like that show kind of runs the division, though, too.
Right, and that's where I think the problem is, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, whatever's popular on that show, that's what they're going to talk about.
That's why I'm worried about Charlotte coming up, because I don't know what they're going to do with her. Do they make a Ric Flair 2.0? I don't know. I mean, I would love to see, maybe it's too close now, but, Charlotte Natty, that match that they had at NXT TakeOver or whatever, that's a Mania Diva match right there. Bring Brett out, bring Flair out, have it a big ordeal. That should be a Mania match. It's not going to happen this year because it's too soon, but, that's the type of stuff that they need to be doing. Like, the girls down there I'm really, every time I watch NXT, I'm excited for those matches. And the pay-per-view that's coming on next, I think next week or this week, is like a fatal 4-way for that title, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, those shows are always so much fun too.
Mm-hmm.
From top to bottom, really. And it's crazy that it's the same company that produces Raw every week. But I mean, it's just an hour-long show too. I mean, that's the thing. It's just refreshing to see how much they can pack into that hour, And even when they have the specials and stuff too, it's just 2 hours. You know, I think it would help Raw quite a bit if they cut it down to 2 hours like it used to be.
I think it would too, but it all depends on what they put on those 2 hours. You know, like
more money in 3. What's the problem? What about the money?
Yeah.
But are you guys gonna watch NXT, right?
Oh, definitely. I would not miss that.
I'll try to check it out for sure. I try to watch it every week if I can remember.
Last week's was really good. I felt like last week's was really good leading up to the event. There was so much that went on, and I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, how long is this episode? But it was only an hour, and there was so much that happened.
I actually found out recently that I have the El Rey network too, and I want to try to start watching the Lucha Underground show, which I hear is pretty daggone good.
It's a great show.
Yeah, I actually tuned in and caught that. I think last week, and I was pretty impressed. It was pretty cool. I was surprised who all was there. Like Conan was there. I was like, oh my god, I'd almost forgotten Conan. You know. I was like, Viva La Raza, Conan's here. He got all bloody too. I was like, cool. John Morrison's there, yeah.
Yep.
And
Del Rio's there now.
Del Rio, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was some pretty good wrestling. So I mean, I was pretty entertained by it. I was like, you know, I need to start DVRing this stuff.
Did you see that Chyna announced that she was going to be a part of it? Did you see that?
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
No.
Yeah, she just posted like a video on YouTube saying that she was coming back. She's been living in Japan or something, or China, or she said she's coming back to the U.S. to be part of Lucha Underground. I don't know.
Maybe that stint will last longer than her TNA run that she had a few years ago.
Yeah, remember that was like 1 match with her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing though, like on Raw, what they do to further along and make us care about WrestleMania this year. Because at this point in time, like, I don't know, man. There's really nothing on that show that I'm just dying to see.
Not yet. Nope. And a lot of it seems like it's going to be a repeat of Fastlane, to be honest. A lot of those undercard matches. Because Fastlane's doing Ambrose Barrett for the IC title. You know, what are they going to do with them at Mania? Rematch? Because I don't know where either of them go. Other than that, and then you got Cena Rusev. It's going to be the same thing probably at Mania. So you get a lot of the same stuff, I think.
I think some of these shows are like fucking Fastlane. Like, who the fuck is going to buy that? Like,
that's why it's free.
That's what. Yeah. I mean, the main event is actually. Well, I'm hoping the main event is Reigns and Bryan, not Cena. But you know, I actually want to see Reigns and Bryan at it. I mean, could they have done that on a Raw? Or you know what? Better yet, they could have did that on a Saturday Night's Main Event instead of having.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Why don't you, like, instead of doing another pay-per-view, if it's going to be on the network anyway, change it up a little bit. Have it be on another night and hype it up a little more. Make it seem a little different, a little more special than, okay, it's Fastlane. It's a new pay-per-view.
No, they could have did Saturday Night's Main Event on a Saturday night on the network only. They could have easily done that. And I think it would have made it a lot more special than just throwing a title on some random pay-per-view that might only be like a 1-year hit, and it might just change again next year. So
that's a horrible name for a show, by the way.
It is, yes. Horrible.
Fastlane. That just sounds like generic. That's like almost like In Your House or something.
That was the Fox TV show from a few years back with Tiffany Thiessen, Fastlane. That's what it reminds me of. Bill Bellamy and all them people.
Exhibit's going to be on it. So, yeah, no, I agree. It should have been a Saturday Night's Main Event, Bryan and Reigns, and then just have a bunch of, like, undercard matches, you know, to kind of lead up to Mania. Had some cool stuff happen. I mean, you know, you could have maybe, if they were going to do a Bray Undertaker, maybe have him appear there, have the Sting Triple H thing go on there. You know, that's what I think they should have did. But
I say though that Bray Taker is not happening unless you see something tomorrow, because they got to start promoting that shit.
Well, where does Bray go?
Three-way with the Wyatt family.
Okay.
There you go.
A lot that can happen. I don't know what they're doing over there.
I don't have a clue what they're doing.
Yeah. I have no idea where he could go after if not him, Undertaker. I mean, what else is there for him to do?
Kane, I guess.
I feel sorry for whoever has to feud with Kane for WrestleMania.
I think Kane and Big Show should do a double retirement match. That should be it right there. Get them out.
Pink slip on the pole match. Pink slip on the pole.
If you really think about it, over the years, they never gave Kane a damn thing. I mean, worth a shit.
The title like here and there, but like it was always for like a short period of time.
Right, and all the storylines they gave him were all horrible, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me to have Big Show and Kane face the Usos for the tag titles. It would not surprise me to do that. It would not.
Oh God, it's awful. That's
awful.
That is so awful.
I don't think you could put those dudes
versus Kane and Big Show and have Ascension kind of go face, and then
you're better off not putting those guys on Mania.
Who? Ascension?
No, Big Show and Kane. Like, just leave them off.
They'll be in the Battle Royal.
Yeah, maybe in the Battle Royal. Are they even going to be Battle Royal?
What, like a broken trophy that is like a curse?
They already said it's an annual thing. So it's happening again.
Yeah, who wants to win it? I mean, who wants to win it?
The ghost of Cesaro's career will haunt you.
It's like whoever wins this, the next year of your life will be utter shit. You know what I mean?
So we know that Eric Rowan is going to win the Battle Royal because he didn't do jack shit for the year.
Probably, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know.
That thing's cursed, man.
Cursed. Adam Rose will win the Battle Royal.
The bunny will win.
The bunny's gonna win, yeah.
Just pray to God nobody you like wins that match, or they're done.
Well, what do you think? Do you think that? I think at Fastlane it's Usos versus Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, and then I'm wondering if Cesaro and Kidd win.
They were saying that they're gonna win before WrestleMania.
What's gonna happen at Mania for them? I mean, Usos are going to have to be on the card, so you'd think it would be a rematch maybe, or maybe like a fatal four-way. Are they going to throw Ziggler and Ryback into that if
probably
they don't Ryan and Ziggler thing?
The Matadors. I got nothing to do.
Oh, God.
Well, I forgot they were in there.
Maybe a
I think they did too.
Traditionally too, like after Mania every year, there's always like a big list of people that gets cut. Who do you guys see get cut this year? I feel sorry for him, but I think Jack Swagger's one of them. I don't think they're going to keep him.
They've got it. You know what? Unfortunately, I always get pissed when they cut people, but they have to now. They have to. And I think like Mark Henry, Big Show, and Kane should just retire on their own.
Yes.
Just behind the scenes shit. Just get them out of there. Titus O'Neil will probably be gone. Adam Rose will probably be gone.
Yes.
They'll keep Darren Young.
Los Matadors.
Yeah, they have to keep Darren.
Los Matadors needs to go.
Yeah,
they're not doing anything.
Otunga
Rosa Mendez
gone, but she's on Divas, so that kind of saves her ass, I think.
Is she even any good on there though? Like,
I haven't watched it.
She's a dingbat.
Who else is? Cameron should be gone. Oh no, she's on Divas too. Yeah.
Can't stand her either.
What's funny about Jack Swagger though is fans like Jack Swagger.
Yeah.
And when he comes out and he does that "We the People" thing, everybody says "We the People." They seem to like the guy, but I wonder if they like him because he's kind of in that Dolph Ziggler arena like a couple of years ago, where people kind of like him, but they understand that he's one of those sort of perpetual, at this point, not even mid-card guys. He's just one of those guys. You know what I mean? I wonder if he has any of that sort of going for him, or if people just, I don't know.
He should take the whole U.S. thing and run with it. Like, he should have a red, white, and blue outfit, come out with the flag. I mean, at this point, whatever's going to keep him, the fans cheering for him, the better. When he comes out in just like a black singlet, it doesn't do him any justice, I feel like. He needs a character to get himself over a little bit more. But you're right, the We the People thing works, but without Zeb there, it's like he doesn't have anything on his own.
Why not have Hogan manage him or something,
They could do anything. They could have, I would love to see vignettes where Hogan's teaching Swagger how to really be a real American. They do like little things every week where he's teaching him all this different stuff, and he's bringing him to he's bringing them places and like showing them things and stuff. And
Swaggermania, brother.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like Swagger like chewing like a ton of vitamins and like he's out there running while like Hogan's behind him and like there's a shot of Hogan looking over Swagger's shoulder while Swagger's down doing his prayers before he goes to bed. I mean that's it right there. I've written the next 6 months of television right there for you, WWE.
He's bringing Swagger to like elementary schools and having him say the Pledge of Allegiance for all like the little kids and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
That'd
be so awesome.
Yeah.
It can be like a scene in Rocky. They can show him jogging, and eventually Swagger catches up with Hogan, and he's like stronger and faster and shit than Hogan.
Yeah, I mean.
And you have Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Sergeant Slaughter backing him up.
Oh my God, that'd be so awesome.
I mean, that's the thing. So those kind of things are so simple. It's like, come on. And even like what Wes said earlier, like, you do some Braze stuff out in the desert and stuff like that, and, the vignettes are just never, they don't do enough of those anymore. Like I was talking to someone, I think it might have been Freddie, where like, someone like Curtis Axel, you could kind of become relevant again. Like, after this whole ordeal where he didn't win the Royal Rumble, he should like question himself, maybe I'm not perfect after all, and then leave, then start posting like little videos of him trying to become perfect at different things and having him really kind of suck at like sports and this, but then every week he starts getting better and better and better, and then maybe after like a month or so, he's really good at everything. He's training at like a gym, like, he's wrestling like at a warehouse, he's doing basketball, all this other stuff, and then at the end he's just really good. He's shooting hoops, getting everything in, hitting home runs, doing all this stuff, and then he comes back as like a whole new character again. Like I just feel like they don't do enough with vignettes for people to kind of build them up, and I think they also don't do enough of like those sit-down interviews like they did on that Raw that was snowed in. Those are more beneficial than coming out to the ring and shooting and cutting promos, in my opinion. One of my favorite backstage storylines was the one where they did that. I think it was like for the like 4 Raws in a row or 3 Raws where they did that sit down with Foley where he started like becoming a face. He was like Mankind, and then he was kind of telling you about how he grew up and the Dude Love character, this, that, this, and then all of a sudden in 3 weeks of like a sit down interview, he came out and he was getting cheered. So they don't take advantage of a lot of the older stuff that works, that can kind of build characters for them, and them having to try to do it on on TV. It's all stuff that can be done like backstage or on a different day and just have it air on Raw.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff is just pre-planning. Like they don't really think about that sort of thing anymore, which is unfortunate. I mean, if you've got that many employees and that many agents backstage, you would think, hey, we could do this backstage, especially with guys like Roman Reigns who needs preparation, and needs probably multiple takes to get a good little interview segment going, you know.
Like, why not show him with his family, like his family roots, his daughter, so he become like a sympathetic character, have Lesnar and Snow training or something like that, a build up, some sort of actual feud.
Here's the thing though, like I was wondering this too, because I always heard like the Samoans in wrestling, like they all say that they're related. Are they really related, or is that just like?
Supposedly, The Rock and Roman Reigns are not blood related. I guess somewhere, their ancestors, I guess they consider themselves brothers, so they kind of say they're family, but they're not really blood related family. So it's like more about the code, I guess, of honor rather than the actual DNA. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's confusing because it seems like every Samoan in wrestling is related to each other.
I think the Usos and Reigns are actual cousins, but besides that, it's very weird family tree they got.
Yeah. But hell, I mean, they run with it. They should run with it at least. I mean.
Yeah, they could do stuff like that. You could have Brock sitting home with the belt on like his coffee table, just watching TV as like Reigns is no threat to him. He's not even training. Right. Yeah. Something like that, and it keeps the belt relevant too. Like as to say, this guy's just sitting home with this title for the last 6 months, and it kind of, it'll stop pissing people off. They should have been doing that the whole time. But
that'd be funny. Could you imagine Brock Lesnar like sitting on a couch with his feet up, drinking a beer, like eating Doritos? He's got Dorito crumbs on like his shirt. He's like, yeah.
He's watching
Roman
UFC.
Reigns. Yeah, exactly. So he's like, so what do you think about Roman Reigns? Is Roman Reigns a threat to you? Who? Never heard of him.
Who? What? It's gonna rain outside? Nah, it's. But yeah, that's
gonna make it rain up in this bitch.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Jerk.
It is.
Wonder if they told him to quit doing that. Probably don't want
to.
Yeah.
It's done. But yeah, there's just a lot of things that they're missing. You know, a lot of things that they can build people up with. That they're just. It's either they don't care or they've got their mindset on one thing and that's all they're worrying about right now.
They're just lazy. That's what it is.
There was one video though. I think one of you guys posted it on the WrestleManiacs page on Facebook, where they edited two different videos. One was like of just Reigns' entrance, and the other was Vince like fucking like coming all over himself. Like, yes, you know. And he was showing Reigns, and you know that's exactly what's going on backstage. He's like, oh, look at how big he is.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yep. That's it.
So that's why it's 3 hours, because Viagra lasts 4. That's why.
Yeah. Now, it'll be interesting to see where things go. I guess we'll be doing another, hopefully we'll be doing another one of these for Fastlane. I don't really expect that show to be that good, but who knows. I am looking forward to see what happens with the Reigns and Bryan match. I don't think they're going to change the main event, though. I really don't. I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either.
Yeah, I'm just curious where Bryan goes from here. I mean, I'm hoping it's Ziggler, if anything, but if Ziggler's already going to be in a tag match, if they're already prepping that, then I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Sheamus is the only option.
That's what I feel like is going to happen, and I'm going to be pissed.
Sheamus returns and costs Bryan the match.
Fastlane. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's happening too.
You know what, though, man? Like, the best Sheamus ever was is when he was a heel.
No, oh yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, who knows? We will see. Well, I remember, like, the Sheamus's heel, because I was at this show, I think it was in Lexington, like the Raw, right when Nexus was getting really popular or whatever, and that was when Sheamus was like, his heel run was done, because he would like, do you remember this? He run from fucking Nexus or something, like a big pussy.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
I actually just watched that on something where he would run through like the audience and stuff because he was like so frightened. Yeah, I remember that.
They were talking about that on some podcast, saying like talking about Sheamus coming back, going, that was the end of Sheamus when he ran away from the Nexus.
Yeah, I always remember that because that was like I was there. You know, it was one. I think it was at Raw in Lexington. So
that's really funny.
Yeah.
So when is Fastlane? Is it?
I think it's
22nd. I think.
In a couple weeks. Yeah.
All right. Maybe we can do NXT that night too, because hopefully Fastlane won't be a big discussion. Really.
No. Yeah, we'll definitely have to mention NXT for sure, because like that is. And I know we don't talk about it a whole lot on here, but like that is like it gives me hope that things at one point, like when Vince is dead or whatever, that it could be WWE could be that good at some point, Yeah,
yep. Triple H has it. He understands the fan base. That podcast revealed like who really is the problem in that company right now. It's not Triple H, it's Vince. So.
Because I think he's just very set in a certain way, but I feel like NXT, what they do is, it's one of those things where it's like sometimes less is more. Like, it's rare that you go out there and anybody gives 20-minute promos ever. It's very rare. Like every once in a while you'll get something out there that's more than just a match. But they do have some talent down there that I hope doesn't get ruined. Like I still think that Enzo and Cass tag team is something that could really work in the WWE. They're just so good with the audience. It's like I haven't seen people like that since like Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, and I just hope they don't like ruin that. They're just so good on the mic that I think they could be very entertaining up on the main roster.
Yeah, if they introduce those guys the right way, like do like some old school Razor Ramon vignettes or something, have them out in the, you know, in the hood or whatever. Yeah, they got to introduce them the right way though. They can't just have them pop up on TV and nobody knows it.
And they're entertaining as hell, and that's the thing, you know, like they really are. Like those, both of them are. Like Enzo more or less, but what Kaz says, you know, it's kind of like the Billy Gunn of the group. Like it's enough, and you know the guy's 7 feet tall. I think there's something they could really work with those two guys, have like a real tag team. And that's the thing. Like I don't want them to come to the main roster and then break them up right away, because one of them, if not both of them, are going to be screwed after that. I mean, the worst thing they did to Titus O'Neil was break him off from Darren Young. I mean, his career was done. Both of them. Like I think if they put them back together, it would actually be somewhat better for both of them. But I don't know.
They'll be the new FBI when they get to the main roster.
Well, I mean, now they're what are they saying? Adrian Neville, they might do a Mighty Mouse gimmick, and now they're saying Kalisto, who could be like Rey Mysterio's savior for the Rey Mysterio, might be a gay hairdresser when he comes to the main roster. It doesn't make any sense.
It'll be Rico 2.0.
I don't understand.
and I guess Enzo and Cass could be Billy and Chuck. There you go. There's your main roster angle.
But that's what I don't get. Like, Kalisto, to me, is like, if you're looking for another Rey Mysterio that can get over with the kids and the fans and sell masks, and, you know, he's that good where that's where they should just transition him right to. Mysterio out, Kalisto in. He's your Rey Mysterio type of guy for the next 10 years. Not take a mask off him and put him in a stupid gimmick that's going to go nowhere. So I don't know why they do this kind of stuff. I mean, but again, I don't know what you do with Adrian Neville, to be honest with you. He's so good, but I don't know if he's good enough because he doesn't really have a character. So I get it, but I think the Mighty Mouse thing is weird. I just don't know what you do with Neville, though.
So he'd be the new Hurricane, I guess.
Neville.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
it's going to be tough for him just because he's so small and he's just he doesn't have a good. I mean, he's got a great body and physique and everything, but
ears.
I just don't. Yeah, and he's just kind of like an ugly dude. Like I don't know what they would do.
Brass ring, the one brass ring. That's what you have to do. So easy. Where are the rings?
Yeah, that's right. He keeps looking for it. He's looking for his precious.
That's his precious. Yeah, the one brass ring.
That's actually not a bad idea.
I mean, I'm looking forward to that show. I think that it comes up, this Wednesday, right?
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I'll try to watch that.
Neville's
live.
And what is it? Neville and
Balor.
Balor. That's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
Contendership.
And Tommy's done, dude. I don't think he's gonna amount to anything.
Indeed.
That's what's gonna happen. And you know who else too? I don't see anything in Tyler Breeze either for some reason. I don't see him going anywhere.
Seems like they kind of backed off on him a little bit though too.
I think
they're kind of pushing him to the main event almost.
The character's okay, but he's just so freaking annoying to me on the mic. I can't get into him at all.
They said they're gonna put him with the Miz. That was the plan.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's gonna be the new stunt double when he gets rid of.
I guess he'd be like his assistant or something like that. His new assistant was Sandow.
Actually, you know what? Because that's what he wanted Sandow to do, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, actually.
Because they're both A-list characters, I guess. So
that wouldn't be half bad to bring him in with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I don't think he's got anything going for him either if they don't bring him in like that.
Yep. So, guys, it's midnight, so we've been on here a couple of hours. So, I'm sure you guys I gotta get to bed, and I'm sure you guys, it's Monday tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, thanks for everybody for checking it out, and we will be back here in a couple of weeks, I guess, for Fastlane. In your house, Fastlane. Sounds about right.
Oh, God.
The good thing was, though, In Your House events were just 2 hours, and this is going to be 3. 3.5 if you count the, or 4 if you count the.
It's gonna be another glorified Raw, huh?
It'll probably be a shitty Raw, actually.
Yeah.
If I was guessing. But who knows? Hey, we will see. It could be great. I mean, I hope it is. I hope they get us excited about WrestleMania.
I mean, Sting will be on, so that's a plus, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Brian Reigns should be good. I can't see that really being a bad match.
No, I don't see it being bad. Brian won't let it be bad.
Right.
I mean, think about that, though. You got to think about it. When one-on-one matches, when's the last time you've watched a match with Brian, regardless who his opponent was, that was a terrible match? I rarely ever see it.
Even Kane has good matches with Kane.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Hey, what do we know?
Yeah, they wouldn't listen to us anyway, so. We don't have any writing experience or anything.
Nah.
No. We haven't been watching this sport for 30 years. So.
Yeah. That doesn't matter, though.
But, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me on here, and we will be back at it in a couple weeks. Fastlane. I guess Fastlane on the road to WrestleMania, baby. Ooh! It's coming up here in April sometime or something.
I think it's in March this year, isn't it?
Is it in March?
Yeah, end of March, I think. I think it's exactly like 4 or 5 weeks from Fastlane to Mania.
Well, hopefully it'll be good this year. That's all I can say.
I guess we'll see how this Brian Reigns plays out.
Yeah. So, dudes, hope you all have a good week coming up, and we'll see you here in a couple weeks for Fastlane.
Yep.
All right, guys.
All right.
Take
care.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Later.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.